はい、お願いします。I think that I brought another thing, but we're not going to start with that, is that's a form. But that motion or form starts out of stillness. And right about here, there's that change. And I feel awkward out there. But right about there, boom, there's a stillness there. We're going to go here. But on the other hand, there's a stillness here. Boom, 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 boom. So here, for example, we can figure 8. We can go. Okay. Yeah, see, there's a point where that change happens naturally. Now, what happens is when that still point, then things accelerate from there. And most of the time, we don't get that. We're kind of trying to keep things like this and fumbling and, you know. But right about here, boom, 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 boom. So stillness and motion, motion, stillness, boom, 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 boom. Now, what you can do once you get that is, there's versatility, like that's a Sankyo change. This is an Ikkyo change. Boom. We go this way. There's another Ikkyo change. Boom. This is an Ikkyo change. Boom. So, off of this, but so that we see it this way. We see the form, but we don't see I'm sure when Shadaharu-O was really in a groove, the ball hung there for him to hit out. And, all the insanity of an NBA game, I think there's that point where Curry picks up. There's that moment to take the shot or make the move. See that feeling right there? So I'd like you to, you can do this. We're doing this one-handed, two hands, for example. If we go this way. But see, right about here, there's a still point, and then, see, that still point, things accelerate off of it. If I don't, I stay out there, and everything is at the same speed, and things are chaotic. So right here, there's stillness here. I can rotate it, change it, change it. It's almost like this. The stillness sets up and organizes the motion. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. So we're going this way. Okay, we could do that. And then, see that change, I don't just grab it out there, but see, it hangs for me for a second. Whoa. It hangs for me for a second. Whoa. It suspends for me. Okay. Oh. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so one of the things here is that, we get so caught up in the movement out there that we don't see the, we don't see the, boom, boom, boom. And notice how the movement, when you get the still point, the movement starts out slow and then it accelerates. You're right about here slow, but then the afterburners are right there. Boom. Ooh. 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 So these changes here are very important. Okay? One of the things that we can do, for example, let's just say he comes in this way, all right? Now here, I'm in the movement, but there's a stillness that sets that up, right? It sets up this kind of echo or something. If he gets firmer, I'm caught up in his firmness, which is a form of movement, but you learn to kind of catch those still points, all right? And for example, here, right now we're going to move off the line here, boom. Okay, that's emotion, but there's stillness there, boom, boom. The stillness sets up this kind of reverberation echo, doesn't it? If I get caught up out here trying to do that, I just bump into you, but okay, boom. Okay. So one thing you can do is, with these changes here, Notice how this is me doing everything out there. But here, boom, 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 boom. Now this is slow, fast, slow, fast. As you get slow, fast, it's not just one speed or just sleepy slow all the time. Boom, boom, and we go the other way. Boom, it sets up the other way. Boom. If you have a weakness on one side, I'm much better going this way than I'm that way. But what that really means is this side needs to integrate better and integrate slow, fast, or still motion, stillness, motion, stillness, motion. Boom, boom. Okay. Oh. In fact, after a while, the stillness sets up the movement. So move around a little bit with it, okay? Okay, yeah, so in almost anything, let's say he comes in with a thrusting motion. Now he could be grabbing my wrist. I'm out here trying to blend with him. Okay, boom. You don't need a lot, but there's an area where that stillness is part of the motion. Okay, or conversely, all right. This is very heavy. Okay, but as I said, matter is suffused with emptiness. Okay? So the emptiness, stillness are very similar. Okay, now this is matter. It's heavy. It's unyielding. Sometimes you think of the world as kind of nuts, but so you kind of train yourself not just in the movement, but in looking for those pockets of emptiness, right? Right. I mean, he's out now, but Wiseman, a lot of talent, but the game's running too fast because all he sees is that. But the emptiness is the player's time to do what they're supposed to do amidst all that. And he's young. Hopefully he heals and comes back because, he could be very good if he catches that. Okay. So off the line. If you're looking for it, waiting for it, the emptiness just is a feel within yourself. It's a sense within yourself. Okay, so try that a little bit. If you try to move them, if you try to move them, you get caught up in the motion. Right? And you got the ball in your hands and it's 20 seconds to go, in the game, and you're on coast to coast national TV with the ball. What are you looking for? You're looking for that still point in the game for you to either drive to the hoop or to pull up and take the shot and win the game. That's what athletics is about. But mainly, it's about winning the game. That's about winning over yourself, which is you find that. So keep going. Yeah, okay. And if somebody you go right and you cross over, say yes. See, there's always a secondary move or a third move. You say, keep going. Yeah. Don't try to think too big either. All right. I'm going to throw a lazy cross-court pass. Guess what? That's fast break on the other thing. maybe okay, but I see that. Hey, hold on to it for a little bit longer. You see what I mean? Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's somebody cutting to the hoop. Boom. Unless of course the whole team's dead, which sometimes happens. That's okay. But after a while, they begin to say, I'm starting to pick up that player's rhythm. Okay, so you can play off of somebody who understands this, and then you get your own understanding of it, right? But keep going, keep going. Now you're still out there trying to move them. Still, boom. So now there's a secondary movement off of that stillness. Yeah, see, you don't waste a lot of time trying to make one move work. Or conversely, if, for example, I go this way, this doesn't work, still, and then I go again on that motion, right? And when you're playing there, it's not a form. You see what I mean? Oh, well, I got this form. How can it work sometimes? Yeah. See, I'm looking for it out there. It's not out there. It's somewhat here, so I can recognize it out there. The world can get nuts. But the ability to navigate that insanity out there is to find your own center, which means you're finding your own still point inside. And then you start to pick up there's stuff. Even in the midst of all this craziness, there are avenues, right? Okay, keep going. Come on. Yeah. Don't stop. You either continue again, but you hit that still point. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the other thing is, you're finding possibilities right here. For example, here you move over here. A lot of things just sort of naturally unfold off of that. Now, if you're solid, still one, you find a different angle. I mean, a lot of success. You want to do something and the world's kind of stupid, won't budge for you. You don't give up. You find an angle, and that doesn't mean you're a con artist. You see what I mean? How are we going to sell universal love and brother sisterhood? I don't know. It's going to take somebody who understands how to navigate, the world and the stupidity of most people, right? So, there's an area where a lot of that, for example, if you're here, it's like, well, this angle is not going to work. Okay, so we go this. We find an angle where some motion starts, and that's finding, like empty, for example. We're saying, stillness. Stillness, motion. But stillness is also empty. You know what I mean? Now, like I'm going to try to do that, and I'll just see what develops. All right. Yeah, I know so and so is impossible, but instead of running into every area you're impossible, which you're not, you're play acting here. So, oh. All right. You see? Yeah. So yeah, we're going to go this way. The world is unyielding. It's impossible. It's in everything I do. The world kind of. Well, let's look at other ways. And, you don't have to win it with one thing. They had eliminated 3 or 4 bad turnovers that would have won the game. That's just it. It wasn't so much what the other team did. The other team, of course, feeds off of that. Oh, they give us the ball. Great. Right? It's great psychological shift. So all of a sudden you go, okay, I'll give you a gift. You give them enough of those, of course they're going to beat you. But you're beating yourself. You see that feeling a little bit? So, what if you gone this way and saw that guy playing the passing lane, and the guy that was right there had cut for the hoop, bounce pass, and maybe somebody covers it, somebody from the corner comes in with a dunk. But when you throw that lazy pass, and somebody else is looking, salivating, saying, interception, dunk, turnover, interception, dunk. Well, guess what? 3 of those things, they didn't beat you. They, of course, you gave it to them, right? You beat yourself. And so it's not about beating the other team. It's about winning over that, right? So, right here, that's a lazy pass. Okay, but we'll hold it for a little left. Okay. Oh, that's a better passing angle. And then somebody, adjusts to that. But there's a third one, and all of a sudden they're cutting to the hoop for a dunk. You see how everything is triggered by your first response. And then the thing unfolds, the technique unfolds. And you say, oh yeah, I see the technique. Yeah, okay. But they don't see the process. You see what I mean? In a sense, they said it. He says matter is suffused with emptiness. Your matter, your complex, or even living matter, even more complex. Okay, boom. But on the other hand, I can't attack that. But maybe we can find a better approach to communicate with it. You're saying that feeling right there. That's Aichi. So we're working a little bit. If you can find the still point, your emotion adjusts off of that. This is this point, there's some sense where there's a kind of a relaxed, alive emptiness in your own system. Okay? And then what's heavy, well, guess what? Okay. How much will we weigh in outer space? Nothing. We'd be floating around. All right. Okay. Oh, gravity. Okay, please. I got my angle. Okay. And so, then you're doing the form, but essentially said things like, there are no forms in Aikido because Aikido is a study of the spirit. Okay. Spirit goes into matter and can lift matter up to itself. And when you kind of get that motion, there's kind of what we call that stillness there. You see what I mean? When you're in that stillness, you're kind of maybe our version of what Osensei might have called the floating bridge, I know spirit, but it's abstract. Okay. And I keep on bumping into matter even though I have spiritual ideals. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Right about here, you get strong. Okay, boom, we'll go back into it. Then you're working a process. You see what I mean? And then, yeah, you lose a game, but you learn something out of it. Like, boy, we playoff basketball, we better get better. Okay? Hi. So, okay, let's just, from here, just everybody come in, we'll recap. We're doing, this is motion, but we're going to make a change. Now, what I kind of want you to see, this is just movement. It's a form out there, and I feel awkward out there. But right here, there's a still point that allows me to make that. I don't stop the movement to start it again. That also has consequences. But right about here, okay, boom, 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 boom. And then when you understand the still point, the movement starts slow and then it accelerates. Movement starts slow and accelerates. And most people start to moving fast and it locks up on them. Writers probably call it writer's cramp. Got a great idea. Wow, it's unfolding. Whoops, I hit a wall. So just now, once you get that, a lot of the changes happen naturally off of it. See, right here, I'm going to go this way, then I'm going to go that way. I get caught up this way, that way. There's a still point that allows me to go that way. Well, if I ride the still point, the motion the other way is easy. See, if you think, oh, I don't, if I'm out there, I can't pick it up. But right about here, as fast as that is, boom, it's change the direction possible. Okay? So play around with it. There's these changes. And then there's just a simple left to right, right to left. Okay, I'm going to go this. I'm going to go faster this way. No, I'm going to go that way and that way. I'm going to go that way and that way. I'm going to go that way and that way. I'm going to go that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. Each of those has a still point in it. Afterwards, any change from right to left, front to back, up to down, you're working the still point. The movement goes back to ground zero and exponentializes for you. That would be the math. Okay, all right? So again, keep going. A lot cooler here. Yeah. Wait for the shade. Yeah. Adjustment in my blood pressure meds, and now it's like I get lightheaded when I stand up. Yeah, no, just be very easy with it. Be very easy with it. Yeah, one thing about it, okay, you can do it slow, but one of the things is boom, boom. See, that's slow. Okay? Now there's this and this and this and this, but there's still a still point. See, I can drift. There's something called spirit. And conversely, there's a world of matter. But there's that still point that connects matter and spirit. Boom, 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 boom. So one of the things about it, you can slow it down, but then again, you can hypnotize yourself. So boom, 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 boom. What's that still point? Well, it's here. Boom, it goes this way, this way, this way. Goes this way, this way, this way. And yeah, you can slow it down, but then boom. So somewhere between fast and slow, there's still. And if you understand the still point, I think Sensei moves about the speed. And people go, well, where'd he go? Boom. One time, Tojiba Sensei said, Sensei motioned, I guess, for him to attack him. And so he went to attack Sensei, and Sensei just was working about this speed. But he saw Sensei as a series of strobe images. And when he went to attack him, he couldn't find him. So he's just moving about this speed. And right. See over here, for example, I'm moving this way. Okay. But on the other hand, hello. Or converse, but we're about here. It's like, okay, hello. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. And off of that, your movement becomes conscious in a way where I'm too busy out there, either falling asleep out there or getting too locked up and too tight. That's why Sensei said, we're not quite at that, but the floating bridge is not of heaven or earth. It's really right in the middle. And there's a, it's, if you ground on earth, that's good. You're supposed to, on the other hand, you get too grounded, you get too limited with your thoughts. Now, yeah, you pay your income tax, things like that. But if you get a little this way, you drift. Drifting is not floating. Okay? So part of that, floating bridge thing, he says, as a matter of fact, he said you have to kind of make yourself or cause yourself or create yourself to stand there, because you get hypnotized by that or we get hypnotized by that. So staying very conscious, you're both spirit and matter. You're both. You see what I mean? Spirit can't descend into matter and enlighten matter if we get like this. Conversely, matter will ascend to spirit, but then again, I start to get very drifty. So positioning yourself, and that's where you start to pick up the still point in anything. If he's coming in, there's a still point here. Okay. Yeah. If he's coming in again this way, okay, we go this way, boom. If I become too conscious of him and moving in opposition to him, we'll go this way, boom. Okay, got it. All right. And he's now conscious of the fact that it's not a sleepy state. Because in that, I'm almost like hyper conscious. I sense openings. I don't have to hurt them. You see? I don't have to hurt them. I just have to point out if you're attacking, which is you're playing a role to do that. Then what happens is that, you open yourself up. So we're not winning, we're educating each other. And one thing is, when he educates me because I'm a little too much in opposition to him, I react and tighten. And when I force the action out there, everything locks up. Boom. But there's freedom. Spirit is free. On the other hand, spirit and matter work together. If I'm a little too out there, that doesn't happen. If I'm a little too here, so I got to be right in that midpoint. Okay? And that's, since I said, if you don't do anything else, learn how to stand there. Right between yin and yang. You're neither yin nor yang. You're on that portal bridge there. You're not fire, you're not water. You're right there. You're not heaven, you're not earth. You're right there. And in the stupidity of the world, you don't try to escape into an idea about what enlightenment is. Yeah, there's a more enlightened state. And there's what's going on here. And I can partake of that, make a difference here. You see? Okay, so that's maybe O-sensei's message more than, I can express it really. Okay, so let's continue. Okay? Meng, why don't you come over here? We'll do a little recap for you. Okay? So keep going. Okay, one of the things we're doing here, okay, is, for example, you have this, and, it's a change we work. This is like a figure 8, okay? Right? Why don't you hold a little bit more with a short end, long end? Because if, for example, we have a spear, I always set it up where the point would be there. And if I'm here, when I'm spinning around, there's a sharp point, then I lose track of it. But here, okay, good. Okay, now what we're going to do is now what I want you to see is this motion itself. See, there's a still point. I don't stop the motion. Because I stop it, then I got to start it again. I whack myself. But boom. Okay, now boom, 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 boom. Okay, right there, a little mishap because I set the route. If you miss, you let it go around again, and you go that way. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so there's, in the midst of all this insanity, there's probably a still point where we can step in and make the difference. You see, boom, okay, this one, boom. Okay, now what happens with a still point is that, most people are moving the same speed and tightening as they're doing it out there. Right here. Okay. Now it's time to speak. Now you have the room. Boom. See that feeling? And when you have the room, you don't stutter. Okay. Now, one of the things we're looking at is stillness sets movement up. For example, if you come with a thrusting motion right about here, okay, good. Now, that's the movement, but there's stillness, and therefore that sets up something else. Okay. Now I want you to look at how most of the time we start out real fast, a lot of energy doesn't go anywhere. And here you find the still point, and it starts to move. Movement starts. Boom. You see that? That's what we're working. So you can practice on your own. See right here. Boom, boom. Okay. I'm going to grab for kotegaeshi. No, I'm too fast there. I'm going to find that still point, and then it's going to open up. Boom. I'm going to go in for a Rimi Nage, and I hit a wall, but I'm going to go for a Rimi Nage, and boom. Okay, so we find that in the practice, we say the movement of forms, but the forms give us a chance to research movement and stillness. Okay, all right, let's everybody move back here. Okay, and one of the things that we're kind of mentioning is that, let's come in for a bit. Let's not wander too far away from the camera, okay? And in fact, why don't you get over there so yeah, that motion. He perceives me because he sees light reflected off me. Okay. Optic nerve, all of a sudden, and I'm here trying. But he's already in a thought intent. He's already in motion. I can find stillness. Then what he does, he sees the light for where he was. If you watch your sensei, that's kind of what he does. People attack him, and he's already, it looks really dumb. But Tojima Sensei explained it to me. He says, no, when you attack him and it looks fake, I'm going to attack you, old man. All of a sudden he starts moving the speed, and it's a series of strobe images, and where'd he go? That's the way that Tojima Sensei described it to me. So he said, sometimes it looks fake. But he said, no, Tojima Sensei was not somebody who was O-sensei's fan. He was a student, which means O-sensei would yell at people like Ano and Tojima Sensei if they were too half-assed, so to speak. And so, he knew, really come in or you won't believe it's possible. Okay, is what he would tell them. And so as Tojima Sensei said, yeah. So I used to like the full moon swordsman where he would do the circle full moon cut and the sword would go like this. And I used to look at that. I saw that before. I said, somehow he's changing space-time. Because, it's not like traces a circle this way, but when he did it, the sword appeared in a series of strobe images. And so I asked Ikizuchi Sensei, is there any connection between what O-sensei did and the full moon cut in the movies, right? And Ikizuchi Sensei laughed me out of the room. And so I was feeling pretty low, right? And then Tojima Sensei came and, he said, Jack, and he explained how when O-sensei moved, what you really saw was a series of strobe images. And when you attacked him, he wasn't there. All right? Or conversely, what it is when somebody's coming in, it's like, boom. What she sees is she sees the image of me there. But if I have the ability to be in that still point, it's like, so it's a little connected. I'm not as good as O-sensei, so I don't, it doesn't have that. But certain things, if you watch them, and, what I was trying to explain to people, one of the recent broadcasts, I put it on a blog, is that's what Curry does. in constant motion, but he knows how to find ground zero still. And then what happens is that the defender doesn't know what he's going to do. And that's when he does that, he makes his move. And he goes like this, and he's going, okay, boom. And if he just goes like that, he's in the flow of the defender blocks the shot, but he has that ability to, and all of a sudden, the defender doesn't know it, but the defender roots, and then he makes his move. Then he goes this way, and then what happens is, the guy says drive, and so he steps back, and sometimes the defender's right on him, and he goes like this. He's not going to shoot, he shoots. So he understands that. I'm watching him, I'm going, oh my God, this is like Go-sensei. And he's about the only one, because everybody else is hyper athletic. But Curry understands movement stillness. He's a master. And as you probably know this year, you can't will the Warriors to win, but he's fun to watch. Okay? And so what I'm asking you to do is, right here, boom, boom, boom. See, there's that point right here. If I just go like this, if I make a change, I'm going to fumble it. Well, yeah, it hangs there for me. And then when it hangs, you see how it accelerates. And if I make that change this way, it starts fast, and then it jams up, and then I try to make a change, and I can't hold on because I'm just too awkward. That's what Curry makes defenders look like sometimes. What's he doing? Well, he's operating at a dimension that you don't get yet, Jock. I don't even know if he knows it. You see what I mean? But he's getting better at it. He's getting better at that more sensei phase of basketball. Now, basketball is more limited because your body, but last night you had a horrible, and yeah, you're getting old and you're playing a really young guy's game. But I think it's fascinating to watch him just do that extra dimensional stuff right on the basketball court. Okay, so this change. Okay. Boom. Let me go this way. Boom, boom. And this way. Boom, boom. See, it hangs for you. There's that point where it's suspended. And this one. And then see how that flows? It hangs for you. Okay, now you can add the other hand, different position, and the other movement. They all come out of that stillness. Okay? I want you to research that one because it's big. Okay? The world appears to be kind of really crazy and it's not going to change and it really is driving you nuts. Settle a bit. Find the still point in you. And there's opportunity out there. We start to see the cracks in that stupidity. We understand the angles and the timing to deal with what otherwise can be a very crippling situation out there. Okay? So go again, and then we'll partner up. I want you to really research that. Okay? Go. Now, this is something I was playing around with today. And one thing about it, if you're just in the movement of it, it's just as hard. But right about here, there's still point. 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 If you watch Bruce Lee, he's moving it real fast, which means he's able to sense the still point in very complex, fast motion. You can understand all this, and all of a sudden you're playing NBA basketball at NBA speed, and you're caught up in the movement of the game. That's Wiseman. A lot of talent. But, too bad. I wish, it hadn't turned out this way. Because hanging around Curry and Draymond, he would have picked it up. So, see that motion right there? Boom. If you miss, you go again until you catch it. Boom, boom, boom. I used to fun around with because you watch Bruce Lee and you go wow, 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 wow. But it's the same thing with the staff. Okay. you ever fun around with this?
That's what I was doing Friday.
Yeah. Boom, boom. Well, my changes are pretty. Boom, 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 boom.
I got to play with the real one before they made them all.
We're right about here. See, if you're just in the motion, it's hard.
Yeah.
Right, still point. If you miss, you go again till you catch it. Boom, boom. Still point, 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 still point. And if you miss, you go again. You have to go again on that one. Boom, boom, boom. All right. You use a mistake to see that feeling a little bit. And so, part of the stuff right here, I'm just moving it out. Oh, there's the center, and there's moving around it, and off of that, we can change. But to do that, to change this orbital rotation to a figure 8, there's chaos for a second. But if I boom, boom, I'm the center of the change, which means I'm picking up the still points in the movement out there. Boom, boom, and I'm blending with them. Okay? So that's part of it. Now, we're not going to necessarily switch to this. We only got one. Okay? But, if you're going to do this, if you're in there trying to catch it and do the movement, it's hard. But you're the center. The circle moving around that center is both motion and stillness. But you have to be sort of the center of it. Boom, boom. Find your own still point. Boom, boom. You start to find still points in that motion. Or you find still points in somebody's grab or somebody's attack. You see what I mean? Then, we're in a bad situation. We settle. And we see opportunities or angles that we might otherwise not. You see? And I think that's why O-sensei said Aikido. He says, when we do Aikido, when we practice Aikido, we should change the world. That's a daunting task. But if all of a sudden we come out of here and we see avenues that we don't see before, then yeah, we can change the world. Otherwise, the world defeats us because we defeat ourselves. We give up trying to do everything out there, then we get frustrated and stop. But it's like boom, 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 boom. So right here, this is an interesting change. So I can go that way, right? Boom, boom. Or I can go, I can go across, right? Or I can go out and back, out and back. And then I can boom, 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 boom. These are just pretty basic. I mean, I can't do the stuff Bruce Lee did, But, his stuff wasn't all that fancy. He just did it so well. You see, I mean, that was the other thing about Lee. It's not so much he did fancy stuff. It's what he did at an incredible level. And he understood what he called broken rhythm, which means he was understanding the still point in situations. Keep going. Yeah. What's the time like, David?
It's 12:20.
Okay, so we got another 40 minutes. Okay. Okay. Now, what I thought we'd do, by the way, I do have a certificate for you. And Yu Chen's not here. So, did you take a test? No, I didn't think so. Okay, because I think I'm up to date on them. That's a lot. Okay, so I thought we'd do is we go through the 30 movements. Okay. In other words, you have to have something like a vocabulary to speak a language. But if you don't know what you're saying, you just use words or you don't understand the context or grammar, you can probably mess up speaking a language. All you do is memorize the dictionary. You go, okay? So let's go through. So movement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is both up and down. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Let's go through that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is both up and down. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Okay, let's have Paul lead. Okay. Okay, so why don't you get out here? Okay, Anthony. Okay, Dorian, want to try it? Okay, good. Cliff, you want to try it? Okay. Let's see. Ming, you want to try it? Okay, give it a try. Okay. Got to work on that last half a little bit. Okay, but that's getting there. Okay. Let's see. Hmm. Maybe what we do is everybody have a bokken? You can use a staff if you do, but once you get the bokken, we'll do some bokken work. Yeah.
Oh. That's fun. I can do it, but I get things. Yeah.
Okay. Usually there are a variety of different ways of bowing in. Like sometimes when you're seated, you go this way. Now, generally, for example, rule. Okay, now if I go this way, see, so you turn ah, cutting edge away from you. Or actually, let's see, it's probably cutting edge towards you. You could. So you make it as hard as you can to do your traditional right-handed grip. They don't teach people left-handed sword. Okay. Okay. Usually that's done seated. Now standing, the sword is worn to the right side, left side and drawn with the right. Okay. So you hold it in the right hand when you're bowing respectfully. If you're here, then, okay. I know the word for challenge, it's an old samurai movie, Nimuri Kyoshiro, right? Somebody wants to fight him and kill him. And he looks at that person and says, Yaruno, do you want to do it? The guy's like this. And Kyoshiro, of course, guy is so off the center, he drops the sword, starts tracing his cut. The guy comes in, boom, he's toast. Okay? All right. But you hold the right hand. That's the way I do it anyway. Okay? So, and we're holding it as if it's sheath. You wouldn't hold a regular sword with a cutting edge this way, obviously. So, okay. And what we're going to do here, okay. A lot of what you're doing with the sword comes off of the movement of the spear. It's kind of the classical stuff they're teaching now. This is entering. This is turning. But one thing you get with the spear, see, it's like, the changes are not quite that way. Okay. So what I was going to say called shochikubai, which is what he didn't, really it was not about, it's really, the sword is used like a spear. Okay. For example, here, she's going to come in with a cut. Okay, good. Now what we tend to do is if she's coming, I step to the side and cut her. Okay. But there's this change, which is really the change of the thrust. Now to step to the side. And obviously if somebody's really coming at you, then you create more motion. And once you move your hips, your feet can adjust in case you need more space. But what we're going to do here, we're going to draw together that motion. See, this way she can come real fast and I can come in second and still win. You see that feeling a little bit? We're going to try to match the breath. Okay. Attacker, boom. Person receiving the attack, draw, it raises in rhythm with, and the body opens and forms a triangle, just like the spear thrust. Okay? Okay? And again, nobody came here to get a headache or a concussion, so train respectfully. Okay, I think we got one group of 3, one group of 2. So let's go. Hi. This is actually pretty good. This is what, just an earpiece?
Well, it's an earphone. You can hear it when it's called but it's also got a microphone. They're called.
Oh, really? In other words, it amplifies my voice too. How much does it cost?
Well, these are power beats. Apple. They're about $250.
Can you get them at a Best Buy?
Yeah.
What are they called? Power bots?
Power beats.
Power beats.
So Apple has 2 kinds of earphones. They have the white ones that sort of stick out of your, hang down out of your ear, and then they've got these with the power beats, which have the hook that goes over your ear.
Yeah, okay, power beat. Okay. Yeah, this is actually pretty good. I mean, it's much easier than the other one, with all the cord and everything. Is the recording about the same?
I don't know. I've never.
We'll find out. Yeah, I guess that's what we're saying right here.
Yeah, I've been thinking of just getting an extra pair of them.
Yeah.
To have as spares.
Well, I was just thinking, even when we open up, it's probably a good idea. You got to watch about taking rolls and stuff, obviously, if you're wearing one. But
well, if you want something that you can wear and record a class, this is fun.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking, because we might, just continue to do the, the Zoom classes even when we're open, indoors again.
I mean, over the course of the last year, I've had the opportunity to participate in a lot of Zoom
Sure.
presentations, and a number of people who've used the power beats or the Apple AirPods.
Yeah.
The problem with the AirPods is they just go in the ear. If you've got a hearing aid in there, I don't know if it would, because it's like this.
Yeah.
All this in my ear is that it's in my ear canal.
Yeah, I guess what I could do is just remove the. I still got one ear that I can hear through.
Well, if you're fine not hearing the meeting, then just hanging that. I mean, you could hang that on the edge of your mask, or you could even just it doesn't have to be in your ear. It just has to be near your face, so that the microphone.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Oh, okay. Great. Dorian said he wants to, but he can't because I guess his partner is scheduled to give birth about that time. So yeah. I haven't heard from anybody else, so I'll put it out one more time. See if I should be able to give Bob Noah account, you know. I doubt that many people will go, but there's a Tai Chi class that he wants me to take, which means that we're going to go up early and go to a Motel 6. And got to do something, get out of this area.
What time does the Tai Chi class start?
I have to check with him again. I think it might be around 10:30 or something. Yeah, so it's real early. But he studied from a different master. You know, I started with Master Choi Kong Man. He studied with Master Cheng, Man Cheng. And there are differences. I'm kind of curious. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's look at a couple of things, okay? Now, the Kai Sabaki, okay, it's really hard to not want to sidestep. Do you sidestep? Yes, you do. But you don't sidestep this way. That opening motion gets you off of that, but it might be a little tight for you to do anything. It's like anything else, you know, using this, you know, this is hard, but see, that it hangs here for you. It's a still point for that change. There's a still point here in that change, which allows you to segue into motion. Okay, and depending on, you know, how tight, if, you know, somebody archetypal thing, sumo wrestler, if they don't cut you, they're going to smash you with their girth, right? They want to go here and get run over, you know, so boom, maybe you make a bigger move. Okay, but the hard thing right there, okay, for example, if we come in this way, you know, is I kind of want to see, she reads that. After a while, she can read the thing that I'm about to do. But if she knows I'm going to go over here, then I can. There's that little, you think you have curry? No, you don't. Why? Because right here, there's a still point. After a while, there's a series of still points. Even the better you get, the more you find or educated in the number of still points there are in this flow that goes from A to B. Everything is movement and stillness. In any movement, there's stillness all along the path. Okay? And conversely, in stillness, real stillness is not dead. There's an aliveness to it, which is not quite motion, but, you know, you can move at any point. Okay? So one of the things here see what this motion starts fast, so it draws your attention. This doesn't. See, this motion right here is kind of like it does. And I might want more room, so I go this way off of that. And training yourself to do that is a lot of what the training is about. That's the form of the triangle. Okay? Now, the other form of the triangle, okay, we've got to be careful with this because nobody does this to come in and all of a sudden have to get dental surgery. Okay? But what I want to do is raise up and hold it in that motion. Now, if I go this way, you know, I get her, but then again, she's dying. She cuts me down. So we both, I don't think we go to Valhalla. We're too stupid. We go somewhere else. Okay. If there is somewhere else. But here, boom. And notice if she cuts, you are in the same triangle. As she's raising, boom, okay, boom. Now I want you to see the difference between, which means everything collapses. She says, okay, it's just a paper tiger. She comes in and says, ha ha, okay. And here it's like, boom, there's an energy going out. See the difference? I don't want you to get, carried away with that. Somebody's got to go in and get dental surgery, okay? I don't want that. So be careful. Give the energy, but also realize that is to teach you the still point that exists between this and that. The still point doesn't mean you stop, set, and do that. But boom. The more still, it's a contradiction. The more still points you find in a motion, the better the movement and the more adaptable the movement is. That's why your sensei said, Aikido, there's no kata. And in finding the still points in the movement, you're training yourself past an ordinary level. And he said, there are no forms in Aikido because Aikido is a study of the spirit. If all you're doing is the movement again and again repetitively, you top out. That's why I think Curry is really a great story. I don't know how long he'll play, but he's 33, which means that he's better. He's touching finer dimensions of himself. He's able to operate between movement and stillness and motion. He made a couple of bad plays last night. So, hey, everybody's human. Don't get carried away. Okay, I'm now invincible. No, nobody is. Okay? But one of the things I want is right here then, as she goes, boom. And be careful. Be able to, if you go this way, somebody covers their face there, it's just like raised like this, you still get them. But she doesn't discover raise all the way there, that boom, which is full cutting motion. She's learning about the still point right there. In other words, I just charge him. But then again, I'm like this and comes anyway. Ha ha. Still point, okay. But I'm giving the energy, there's a still point right at the top of the raise, not a pause. Boom. Okay? That's kind of a little mini koan there. Okay? So let's keep the partner or partners that we have and investigate that form of the triangle. Okay? Yeah. Now, what are the things about it? Okay, now this is very important. If he's raising here, boom, that goes right through. Okay, if you're raising, boom. There's Ryo Sensei put it, it's a boom for study of the spirit. There are no forms. Now, there's movement, which can be categorized as form. But, from the statement, it's a very deep one. There are no forms in Aikido because it is a study of the spirit. Okay, now one of the things, for example, about that, we go this way and then he cuts again, where boom. That's another still point. If he wants to turn and cut, so boom. I'm like, okay, I got you. So okay, because what it is a little bit when you're raising, here's the boom. And you're over here, boom. That's penetrating. That's spirit to spirit talking. We're not winning and losing. We're both educating one another.
Yeah.
Okay, and that, the dimension of spirit, right? And so, the still point, the motion, stillness is a very important one. Well, if you watch Curry, that's what notice what he does, He's like this and he didn't shoot and he shoots, or yeah, it's amazing to watch him. You know, he goes this way and he doesn't run into the defender. He goes, oh, and he goes the other way. And then, you know, he goes like this, they go back, boom. But there's a still point that sets that motion up for him to shoot that fade. He doesn't get that much distance. It's just somehow, you know, he's just in a different dimension. You know, and of course, ankle sprain, whether or not you're in a finer state or not. So, you know, it's just part of the human condition, but it's fantastic to watch. Okay. But you see that is the point where it's a form. Boom. I turn the blade a little bit more here. Yes. So that get that little extra turn, but it's more than that. Yeah, there's a wind or something that you're riding. See that thing? That's spirit. Okay. All right. Cliff, it's forward, but not in. It's forward and through, but not into her face. Okay, so if he's raising, boom. Now he's going to make a throw out of it. It's already done. Okay. See, when you don't want to go like that, because you see what you're doing. You're kind of contorting. Where does the triangle get you? Okay, in sports, you have wingspan. So here, she says, oh, okay, I'm going to rid the world of somebody evil. I'll die just to do it. Okay, and here is a little boom. Now the throw is already done, really. If we kind of were to step in, you see. That's what the sword is supposed to teach us. That's why I was going to say, he called it shochikubai, okay, which triangle, circle, square, plum, bamboo, pine. It's kind of a Japanese play on things like that. So if you're coming in this way, so when you go this way, all your energy is your spirit is contorting into your back and your butt. Okay, and so what we kind of want to be able to do is boom. Now, you know, I'm not going to throw, but see, the throw is almost all done there. Okay, so next time, you know, your spirit goes out even when somebody grabs your wrist, right? And for your spirit to go out, you can't be locked into that motion. Spirit is very free, but it can focus like a laser. You see what I mean? There's spirit, ki, kami, sensei, like all those terms. Okay, but you know, so he said it's not a study. There are no forms in Aikido because Aikido is a study of the spirit. The shochikubai, that's his swordsmanship. The other people, he had these kata. Yeah, but they're not. I don't think he didn't differentiate. He differentiated between certain things, and his students taught some form of that. But he did the shochikubai. Okay, all right. Doesn't mean it's you know, if you learn the kata forms, the kumitachi, you're going to learn more about how to wield the sword. But at that point, he was more into the archetypal triangle, circle, square, and educating, you know, through the use of energy, spirit, or use the term kami. Okay, so when you're now your spirit can't go out if it's this way, because it's kind of trapped in you. Let it out, but don't smash her in the face. Okay? What's the time like? 12:53. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. See, you're not really sidestepping, you're opening going forward. That's good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's better. Better than- It's okay. You both matched each other there. Okay, let's smooth in a little bit more. Okay, so now all of these, we're going to do the raise, one breath. So we're doing one breath, you boom, without motion. Now what we're going to do is one breath, and we're going to do what's called the circle. Okay? Now, what precedes the one breath, you find a still point. And, this is more advanced theory. The still point syncs her movement and my movement up. If all we're doing is doing a form, we learn the footwork better, and we get better at the form. But if we're coming in this direction and boom, okay? So that's the bamboo, that's the circle. Now you can also write here, this is a harder one, but you're, okay? Now not quite as dramatic, but you begin to see basic blend, okay? Now here, as we're coming in this direction, boom, we're not quite back here, okay? Okay. And for example, I get the form of it and she cuts my legs. Okay. So it's an important one. As we're raising here, boom, she comes to cut. No, you don't do that. But that's a full motion. Okay. Now it starts with, it's kind of like Irimi Nage. Okay. Kind of like Irimi Nage. We're going to come in and say, whoa. Now if he turns to cut, boom. You're still, that's a spirit to spirit connection, you to your partner. Okay. Now I'm moving just left. The right is harder because you got to take a bigger step. So I'm stepping with my back foot, my left foot with a turn. Okay, be careful. When there's a lot of energy, the staff tends to kind of go crazy, or the sword goes crazy, and people get whacked in the face. So be easy. Okay, keep the same partner. Let's do the circle. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now the triangle. Circle, you're writing something.
Oh.
Huh? You're writing something. Right. You're writing something. Okay. I still remember they had absolutely no preconceptions, and then Hikazuchi Sensei had me attack him. And it's almost like there was kind of this cyclone. He rode the cyclone. He kind of just sort of floated, disappeared, and he was right behind me that way. Then I tried to do it, totally messed it up. So, you know, that's about what it is. But you know, the circle, if you're empty here, the center of the circle is empty, which means what? We have to be kind of empty here to ride the current. Okay, try it. That's better. Now you rode something, didn't you? That was an energy flow. Yeah. You kind of rode spirit all the way over there. That's correct. Yeah. In some sense, you know, the more you know about something, the more you keep repeating the same thoughts, staying at the same level of it. So it's very difficult to touch spirit because we're too busy. All right. So go again. Now hold there for a bit. Now hold those, you know, empty, 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 empty. Now raise it higher. You're holding on to something. You can't ride if you hold on to it. Very good. Now you see it. Yeah. Yeah. See, if you do this, you're earthbound. It's kind of like Clark Kent in Smallville, the show. He flies at the very end, except a couple times he turns evil and Kryptonian, so he flies. But when he's Clark, you don't want to be that way. David Eves used to make a joke. He was a retarded Kryptonian because all the other Kryptonians could fly except him, right? So, right, empty, yes. Now get okay. Now, yeah, a bit more. Better, yeah. See, yeah. I think Osensei could probably wind up way over there. We're not quite there, unfortunately, but you know.
That makes an into the story about the snipers make a little more sense.
Okay, yeah, okay. Keep going, keep going. This is a. Now you have to get the pairing right there. Okay, the point that we were making over there, okay, is that right here. Okay, now she's going to come in here. Go. I just get about here. If I get about here, she cuts my legs. Now, you know, of course, I could, well, who's going to get who first, okay? But one of the things about the circle right here is, boom, you're writing something. Again, the first time I ever did with Hikazuchi Sensei, you know, I had no conception of what he was going to do. I was just going to, he wanted me to come in like that. And he kind of just sort of floated, disappeared, like he was riding a cyclone all the way over there. It was very, I mean, it's very vivid. It was a direct transmission. You can see it and copy it. But it was like, what did he do? For me, that was always the hardest one, was the circle. Okay. And Osensei said the circle, the center of the circle is completely empty. Okay, which doesn't make any sense, but you need a center to trace the circle. For the circle itself, here, for example, if I'm too much like this, I'm carrying too much. Okay? And if we're going to go, boom. So you have to let go and ride it. Okay? Did you attack her? Let go, let go, let go, let go. Yes. You feel a little uncomfortable really doing that because you're trusting something that you don't know exists called spirit or ki. You see what I mean? But that's how you train ki. Now, don't do this to a dangerous level, like I'm going to jump off a roof and I trust ki that I'm going to fly like Superman or Supergirl. not that way. But okay, now you attack Cliff. I want to see Cliff. Okay, now technically good, but you got to write it. You got to write it. Better. You don't want to be Clark Kent in Smallville. He basically flies. Clark Kent becomes Superman in the last one. And for 10 years, he's earthbound. All right. You don't want to do that. Go again. That's okay. Now it'll fit better. You're kind of pulling out. So relax, let go, empty some more, empty some more, empty some more. Write it. Yes, that's better. See, all of a sudden your form, when you get, that area, what is the emptiness? You're finding the still point. All right. Yeah. Boom. Okay. Still point. Sensei, well, the kami give you a wind you can ride. Okay. Try it again. Now you're still kind of in that earthbound Smallville phase. So let go, empty some more. Better. Now you might find it might be a little uncomfortable for you. That's a good indicator that there's a still point there. That was about it. Okay. And what did you do? You found the still point, so you emptied, and you could ride that wind or cyclone. Okay, it's the only way I can describe it is, these are words, they don't do it justice. What did you do? I went like this. What did you do? Okay, if he did that, I would imagine what O-sensei would have been like, right? Okay, all right, okay, good. So let's move in here. And okay. So for example here, we have the triangle this way. We have the triangle that way. Now all of a sudden we're in the circle, right? As she's raising. Whoops, boom. Raise up. Boom. Now if you're here, she turns around, cuts your head off, because I lost an arm, but good, because I eliminated that, whatever from me. But here, boom, she cuts her arms. And again, boom, there's a flow of spirit. So Uke also says, oh yeah, okay. There's an education in the movement of ki. Now the shochikubai, she's coming in this way, boom, 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 boom. You're moving from still point to still point, boom, 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 boom. And when she turns around to cut, it's like boom, boom, boom. Right there, it's like boom, 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 boom. So she created a still point, so I wrote it over here. Okay. So one of the things about the triangle, circle, square. Well, Sensei, I put it in the blog and in the last video. He's in Iwama during the war, and he's practicing on his own, which he did a lot of, especially during the war. And all of a sudden, a phantom of himself appears. And they fence. And at first, the phantom's way ahead of him. Then he starts to hold his own. Then after a bit, he begins to, anticipate what the phantom is going to do. Boom, 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 boom. And so, one way of looking at it, his true self, his over self, were sent by the kami to get him to his next level. And after he does this wasn't just, like, okay, I'm hallucinating. No, it went on for about 2 weeks, apparently. At the end of it, he said, oh, I feel kind of revitalized. And he said he could feel the whole universe here, which I haven't managed to do, but, you know. So there was a lesson there when, you know, this phantom image of himself occurred. And you know, one of the things you can do is what we're doing a little bit is we're just feeling the still points right here. She's coming in, it's like, well, there's a still point here. Now he raises up again, creates another still point. He comes to cut, he creates another still point. All right. And boom, 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 boom. There's a boom, 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 boom. And so boom. And right about there, you know, apparently the way he referred to that experience, he referred to it as shochikubai, swordplay. Okay. And, you know, there are other ways of kind of doing that, you know, like Osensei, I don't think he studied, but he invited somebody to come and teach Katori Shinto Ryu sword at his dojo. But he was so good, he would kind of go, okay, he learned a little bit about that. I'm sure he did a lot of work on his own. And so, you know, he taught some, apparently, they called the kumitachi, you know, but they're sets. Okay, he knew those. But, you know, what he called shochikubai, it doesn't mean that you're a better swordsman, but you're a swordsman or swordswoman in the realm of spirit, as opposed to bang, bang, bang. You know, I mean, I went to this place where they taught that stuff, and it was interesting. I said, you know, they've managed to turn Aikido into Shotokan karate because, you know, we do these sparring sets, you know, so I was pretty familiar with it. I was going, huh. And Hikijutsu Sensei, absolutely. You know, it was almost like, you know, when you picked it up, boom, you were supposed to kind of like boom, 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 boom. Whatever her movement is, if she's coming in, boom, you know, there, boom, boom. She wants to raise up, boom. Spirit can congeal and get very heavy, but also penetrate. So when you're doing the shochikubai, again, he said, Aikido has no forms. Okay. Mary Heine Sensei, you know, because, you know, you get initiated by Hikijutsu Sensei into this stuff. And so she, as a guy that trained with another teacher, and so this guy says, wow, that's great stuff. The next class, I'll teach you along with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And she went, and, you know, the point is, good, no A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There are other sets and things with a partner, you know, but you get locked up sometimes in something much more limited. Okay. And a lot of the thing is like with the shochikubai, you know, it's like, boom, right about here, boom. The communication, as best we can do it, is spirit to spirit. And you know, I mean, you've got to know something about this. I knew nothing with the sword. And Hikijutsu Sensei would call me up and I go, I don't know what to do. And then he'd make me look good. I know what to do. Oh. And it's probably a good lesson because if I'd known a lot of what to do, you know, I might not, it wouldn't have been quite so vivid, right? But the moment that's right here, there's already boom, 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 boom. These are still points here. She wants to come in here, boom, 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 boom. And that's the shochikubai, you know, boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. If she wants to turn there, boom. Yeah. And the connection there is spirit to spirit. Okay, now you can learn a bunch of moves, but we did that in karate. Control sparring, now that's interesting. And yeah, you bang swords and your wrist gets thick, but we did stuff like push-ups and you start to feel stronger. You know, you win in a match, you go, wah! And those things, there's enough of that. But when there's a winner and a loser here, spirit loses. And even though we're playing roles, and I'm kind of playing the role that Hikijutsu Sensei played, and he played my role when he was learning from O Sensei. When O Sensei taught him, oftentimes, apparently, it was at night in the dojo, no light, and O-sensei had a black boken. Think about that for a second, all right? Well, she showed me how to do that move. It's like, no, this is just like, okay. Basically, Hikijuchi Sensei had to be Daredevil and sense everything in the dark. But apparently, the stuff with O-sensei, if you were receptive to it, was like, okay, boom. You know, there was magnetism, there was gravity, there was movement in the realm of spirit. You move. So he probably felt, even though he was very good, he probably felt the way I felt when I would do the sword opposite Hikijuchi Sensei. I thought, I don't know shit. And I'd go, hey, you probably made me look pretty good. I said, how did that look? Yeah, that looked like you knew what you were doing. I said, great. Right. And so, you know, that area, we don't want to do that. We want to learn a bunch of stuff so we get better at it. And apparently one night, they're in the dark. There's moon, but, you know, you can always see the light of the moon through slats. Most of the windows are closed. And so they have an exchange, boom. And O-sensei's boken, he sees at the through one of the slats of the moonlight, that the tip has been seared off. Because, you know, Hikijuchi Sensei was kendo, but he also did ei, which means he practiced, you know, actually cutting. Usually you do that with bamboo that's wet, so it has the consistency of human flesh. And if you strike it like that, it bounces up. Boom. So he knew what it was like to cut. And so all of a sudden they have an exchange, and boom, he says, I cut something. Then he looks around, and the tip of O-sensei's black boken was sheared off. And so he starts looking around, feeling around on the floor for the tip, right? And so Sensei apparently, but you know, well, Michio-san wa nani o sagashiteru ka? Michio-san, what are you looking for? And before you can say anything, O-sensei reaches in his kimono and presents him with a tip. And then he says, you got it. It's not about forms. You understand that when you're really holding the blade that way, or the boken, the sword is transformed. It becomes a cutting sword, even if it's wood. So he's talking about what we might call alchemy. Okay, that was one of the great stories that they used to float around the Shingu school about O-sensei. Now, it wasn't that O-sensei went bam and cut his boken. It was more like, you know, he went and cut O-sensei's boken. And O-sensei went, are you looking for this? Okay, you got your certification now. Okay. But it wasn't, you know, so I mean, you know, the way that O-sensei taught it was much more about direct experience. Spirit to spirit, soul to soul, whatever you want to call it. And the forms, of course, we have forms because we do practice. But, you know, the actual sense of it, now today we're working motion stillness. If you get a chance to, unless Curry really damaged his ankle, watch him when he plays. And he understands that. Right? I mean, he's moving around, all of a sudden, you know, it goes like boom. It throws the defender off. He's moving, boom. He could get absolutely still, and then all of a sudden, boom, it throws his rhythm off. He's able to, you know, where'd he go? And, you know, I'm looking at Curry, I'm thinking, you know, nobody else in basketball does that. LeBron's bigger, smarter, he's smarter than most people, you know, talent and intelligence and physically very gifted. Kyrie Irving is totally crazy in terms of what he can do. But he doesn't do what Steph does. What Steph does is a level in his discipline of what O-sensei was doing. And so, you know, if you watch him sometimes, you know how, you know, right about here, okay, he goes over here, you know, or, you know, he's going to block the shot right here, and boom, he has that little sense where, huh, and boom. And the way he creates his motion he's really blending with the spirit of the defender and creating this movement stillness dynamic. And I haven't seen anybody do that. I imagine when Shadaharuo was playing, he was really on his game. You were talking about these still points. You learned to wait, wasn't it? The ball was just hanging there. Oh my. I'll bet O could do that. Baseball's, again, a different thing. But O Sensei said, O-san, learn to wait. Learn to wait. And you pick up that still point where the ball just hangs for you. Boom. Oh. Okay. So anyway, I think we're done for today. So let's all line up. Okay, thank you very much. Let's see. Next weekend, Saturday, I'm scheduled to go up to Petaluma. I'll post the thing again. Those of you who've done Tai Chi, Bob Noah Sensei wants me to take, he has a Tai Chi class, then he has an Aikido class. So I'm going to head up early on Friday. So he wants me to take the Tai Chi class, then the Aikido class. But anybody that wants to go, everybody's welcome. But please let me know if you are, so I can give him a count from the dojo. Okay, it's not a requirement, and I'll be back here for class a week from today. Okay, work on that second half, and then because you're about 80% there. Okay, but just that second half is a little bit more complex. You know the first half. Okay, all right. Okay, so thank you. Okay.
Even though it doesn't say Apple, it's an Apple product. Apple, because Apple bought the company that makes them.
Okay, power. Yeah, because even I guess where I am,
free moments, I'm
I don't
doing a
think it's a huge
virtual
problem.
science fiction
It's not
convention
just
this
go
weekend.
into an indoor space and put out.
So they've got two main kinds. They've got these
It's
one
a
kind which
hodgepodge,
just
just like they
are
did it.
you hook
WebEx
hangs
Discord
behind
and
your head.
YouTube. All the
The
comments
ones
are
with the
in
wire
WebEx.
are less expensive.
I mean, sorry, all the comments are in
and they're
Discord.
probably
for
just
WebEx
as good for the
sessions,
microphone and everything.
except
Yeah, but I
when
like
they're
that.
being
These are nice.
recorded on
Yes.
WebEx
And if
streamed
you
to
want to, you
YouTube,
can just go to
and
the
still have
Apple
to comment on
website
Discord.
under
if you're a
accessories and look,
panel
in the
Moderator,
earphones and
you
they're
have
there.
to read the
Power
Discord while
beat.
moderating on
Okay,
WebEx.
thank you. Okay, so
It's-
this
it's
time we
a
don't
bit
have that ritual of unwinding.
But
Yeah.
Sensei, do you have Dorian's certificate?
Oh, don't stop.
Oh, okay.
Don't stop.
Anyway, so
Okay,
I'm
yes, I
moderating a
do.
panel tonight. I'm doing a reading.
Okay, let's read down.
Reconvene.
Okay. Class continues.
So, sorry. No, it's fine. Okay, so what I did here. Everybody can sort of do it when you're following. Hi, everyone. So I can actually just go onto the Apple website and order it. Yeah,
Yes.
I like the microphone hookup. It's called.
Okay, Al.
Yeah,
See you next time.
Is it an Apple product?
He says Apple, yeah. So.
Get a discount. I talk to Max.
Talk to who?